Hi, my name's Parker, and I'm the director for A Friendly Invitation. A Friendly Invitation is about these two roommates who live together, and one of them is transgender. And the film opens with they get some new neighbors, so they're just moving in. And they invite them over to dinner, but during that conversation, the main character, Nathan, he realizes that these people are not really like what they seem. They're not very kind to him, and they're being transphobic, they're misgendering him. So he's like, oh, like I don't really want to invite them over anymore. I don't know what to do. And so the film follows like the week leading up to the dinner, and he kind of comes to terms with what he's okay with happening and how he wants to be treated and what if he's going to stand up for himself or not. When the story started, it actually was not about being transgender. It was a totally different film that was more focused on the horror aspect of it, but that story it didn't have a lot of substance. So we were thinking about it and we were like, well, what if we make the main character transgender? What if that's the main issue in the film? Telling transgender stories and telling stories about religious trauma, these are, they're unfortunate topics, but they're real things that real people go through. And so the most important part about filmmaking is that it makes people visible. You can tell these stories to a wider audience. You can maybe help other people understand what some people are going through or struggles that they have. And so telling a story about being transgender is just sharing a part of myself, a part of my community with other people so that they can hopefully understand where I'm at and where people like me feel like is going on in the current climate of America. Not to get too political or whatever, but it's just about telling stories that can really happen and showing the emotion that people can go through. Casting was actually very difficult for a number of reasons. Since the main character is transgender, that is something that you want to approach with a lot of genuineness and a lot of openness and communication. So from our casting pool, we only had, I think, 3 people or actors from Radiance who identified as any form of genderqueer, and none of them identified as a trans man. But I didn't want to have that limit us when we were looking for the actor to play Nathan, so I wrote a letter to the acting side of Radiance, and I was like, I encourage anybody who wants to audition for this role to do so, and it's okay, we're at whatever level that you come from, we will meet you there, and we would encourage learning and education so that just anybody who wanted to audition could. And so I sent that out with the script and the tapes, or for the tapes and everything. And when we got back our auditions, we ended up having Graham be the person who played Nathan. And I think they've done a fantastic job at it. Graham is non-binary, so they understood a certain aspect of Nathan's gender identity, but coming at it as a trans man, what that means and who you are, and that it was really important to talk about. So our location for filming was just one location. We had a townhouse that we used, so one half of it was Nathan and Will's house, and then the other half was Frank and Mindy's house, the new neighbors. And that was really cool because it was very symmetrical. It was very pitting the two against each other. You can't not see your neighbors when you're living in literally the same building as them. So the location that we ended up filming at was Joyce's townhouse. She was our second AC. And shooting actually went really well for the most part. We shot outside, we shot inside, whatever. And then on our last day of filming, which was actually a reshoot day that we had scheduled, a sheriff came up to us and he was like, hey, you guys cannot be filming here. This is private property. It doesn't matter what the tenant has said, there's a no film clause in the lease. And that was something that we didn't know about. And so he said, you guys have to pack up. The property manager sent me here to kick you out. And so we were like, okay, how do we handle this situation? So I asked for the number of the property manager, and I told him we're not gonna tear down just yet, because we were literally all set up to start shooting. I was like, we won't tear down just yet, we're gonna call her first. So he leaves, we call her. As my AD Emma is calling her, I'm like, okay guys, let's film this, and let's film this, and let's try and film this. I was trying to figure out what was the most important thing we needed to shoot, how could we figure it out and get something usable, because it was our last scene. But then luckily Emma talked to the property manager, and she was like, okay, I'll give you guys 2 hours. So we had 2 hours to film the final scene, and that included tearing down and getting the freak out of there. So we were I think we had 2 takes of each shot, and I think we did 4 shots, and that was it. And then we were done. My favorite day was when we shot the dinner scene. And it was We had our most complicated lighting setup that day. We had our most complicated camera setup that day. We honestly had pretty complicated stuff for the actors as well. There wasn't really a lot of dialogue that was difficult, but their actions, and you know, you'll see it when it comes out, but their actions, there was a lot of like synchronization with Frank and Mindy, and just, it was like really freaking cool. I was like, we're shooting it and it's weird and it's gross and it's freaking me out. Oliver was like gagging while we were filming, and we cut and I like started jumping up and down because I was so excited because it looked just so good. Like, we did a bunch of rehearsals beforehand before we started shooting and everything, of course, and so just having it all put together for the first time and for the last time, because a lot of those shots we just did one take. So like, just being able to have like everything come together so good, like I'm cheesing thinking about it because it turned out so great, and I was just so excited about it because it's like the culmination of the whole film is at that dinner scene. So I don't know, I'm really excited about it. I was really happy about it when we were shooting.